It's the beginning of October 2019, so it's time for another monthly update video. I'm going to talk about what went on in the month of September and what we've got coming up this very, very packed month of October. You might have missed some things from September, and you definitely don't want to miss the things from October. I always like to begin by highlighting three big things, and two of the big things this month have to do with Stoicism. So big thing number one, Stoic Week is happening, not just here in Milwaukee, but all around the world. You can, go to Modern Stoicism / Stoicism Today, get all the details about that. It begins on a Monday, ends on a Sunday. And big thing number two, in the middle of that, on October 12th, we'll be having a Stoicon X event here in Milwaukee. It's sort of like the big Stoicon, just a little smaller in scale. We actually are doing one of the larger Stoicon X's, and so that's really cool. And tomorrow, right after this video airs, I'm going to be taking part in a conversation that I was invited to at the Boswell Book Company here in Milwaukee with author Veronica Roth. If you know the Divergent series, she's the author of that. She's got a new book out, and I was the person invited to join in the conversation. A little bit of a pleasant surprise, but it'll be a lot of fun. We've been corresponding a bit. So those are the three things that we've got that I really wanted to put out there right away. Let's talk about September now. So what went on in the month of September other than teaching 7 academic classes, which is like more than almost double load of many academics? Well, I had some public events and appearances. We started off with a face-to-face event here in the Worlds of Speculative Fiction series. We got to talk about somebody who I'm a big fan of, Carl Edward Wagner, and his Cain novels. So that was a lot of fun, great conversation. Link to below. If you click the show more, you can see the link for that video. I was on the air several times in local radio stations, both times talking about the upcoming Stoicon X event and Stoicism in general. So first I was on WTMJ Nights on their WTMJ Night show, and then I was invited to come on the morning show on River West Radio called Another Morning. And the TMJ Nights hasn't come out, the recording of it yet, but you can click below and see the River West Radio one. We also had our, Milwaukee Stoic Fellowship that I helped host. I did some online events, my usual AMA and half-hour Hegel hangouts and philosophy chat. And I premiered a video on self-directed study of St. Anselm of Canterbury. And then, answered questions and engaged in discussion in the chat as people were watching it for the first time. I mentioned I've been teaching an awful lot. That's quite a bit of work, and there's course development to do as well. I have also been exercising pretty regularly. I had a few days where I was sick and couldn't get in the workout. And the way my schedule is, if I can't get in the workout then, it ain't happening any other time. Did quite a bit of tutorial work. I've had a couple new clients join some philosophical counseling. And of course, this is an incredibly busy time of year for me as the editor of Stoicism Today. So I was doing quite a bit of work with them. I also was on some podcast things. I went on the Sunday Stoic podcast. That came out quite recently. Link is below again. The Enter the Void podcast episode that I was in aired as well. And we recorded, but it hasn't come out yet, a podcast episode with the post-structuralist tent revival talking about thumos and anger and ancient philosophy. So that's going to be a lot of fun when it comes out. Did some video work, as I always do. Shot a lot of Aquinas videos and released all of those. I shot some work on Seneca, added some new stuff to the repertoire for that. Some work on pre-Socratics, Parmenides, and Zeno. I did get one Hegel video done and released, and of course the videos from the events. So September was quite a busy month. And, I didn't get as much done as I would have liked, but I did, in fact, get quite a bit done. October may, in fact, be my busiest month of the year, all told. As we go through the events, you'll see why that's the case. I will mention that I'm, of course, still teaching 7 classes and trying to work out and eat healthy. We changed our diet as well. Still doing a lot of tutorial sessions, philosophical counseling, some consulting, and there's a ton of work to do for Stoicism today this month because of International Stoic Week. So in October, tomorrow, October 2nd, if you're here in Milwaukee, you want to go to Boswell Bookstore because I will be there talking with Veronica Roth. I was invited just to have a conversation with her, to be a second person up on stage. Maybe I'm sort of the equivalent of a color commentator. Not quite sure. I've got to shoot some possible questions over to her quite soon. Had some correspondence already, and it looks like it's going to be a great conversation. That's at 7 p.m. at Boswell Bookstore. On the 5th at 12 p.m., I'll be having my online AMA session for the month. I'm trying to do those first Saturdays of the month, so that's the time for that. On the 10th at 7 p.m., Brookfield Public Library, I will be doing the next Worlds of Speculative Fiction series event, and that is on Aldous Huxley and his utopias and dystopias. So we're not just going to talk about Brave New World. We're also going to talk about The Island and some other things. Probably talk about his perennial philosophy as well. We'll see what we get into with that. Then the biggest event is on the 12th, the Stoicon X conference that we have scheduled here in Milwaukee. At this point in time, we still do have some tickets, but they're actually going quite fast. It's a free event, but you do have to have a ticket because we're catering a lunch and we've only got so much room in the place. Got 3 great talks in the morning, and then we're going to do some lightning round talks and have a nice lunch together. And then Andy and I are going to give the workshop that we were both going to give. I gave it for both of us at the last Stoicon in London on the Stoic heart, partnered relationships. So that should be quite good as well. Then we kind of fast forward a bit to much later in the month. On the 23rd at 5 p.m. we'll have our Hegel Q&A and discussion session. That's for anybody who wants to talk about Hegel or German idealism or even philosophy in general. You just show up and we'll video conference. On the 26th at 12 p.m. we'll be doing a video premiere for another one of these self-directed study videos. This one is going to be about early Christian philosophy. So we'll be talking about thinkers like Justin Martyr and Lactantius and John Cassian and Clement of Alexandria, all these really cool authors that you might not even have heard of, and I'll be talking about them and how you can productively study their works. Also on the 26th at 3 p.m., we'll have our philosophy chat for Patreon supporters. That's a perk that we give to Patreon supporters for their generous support. And then finally, on the 31st, Halloween, 6 p.m., we have our Milwaukee Stoic Fellowship, and we will have gone through Stoic Week together. And we'll talk about the results of that in that meeting, and a little bit of Marcus Aurelius as well, so that should be quite fun. What else is going on during the month? Like I mentioned, I'm teaching a lot, I'm still doing a lot of work, and trying to exercise pretty regularly. It's going to be a little bit tough these first 2 weeks as we lead up to all the Stoic stuff, but I'm sure I'll get some non-physical exercise in there as well. I'm going to be shooting a lot of video this month. I released some Augustine video already to my Patreon supporters. I'll be releasing those to the general public over the course of this month. I'm also shooting a lot of new Descartes video on the meditations, some video on David Hume, and I'll be, of course, having the event videos and the video premiere on self-directed study of early Christian philosophy. So I'm going to shoot some more half-hour Hegel videos, and hopefully I'll get to some book reviews this month. We'll see if that happens or not, but I'm kind of hoping for it because I really do have a lot of books that need to get out there. The month, once the Stoic Week and Stoicon is over, I think will start to become a little bit easier, and hopefully the rest of the year will ease up as well. Oh, I will say one other thing too. I'm already getting scheduled for classes in the spring with some of the local colleges that I work for. So I know I'll be teaching business ethics come spring, and probably be teaching ethics for artists and designers and intro to humanities, and we'll see what else comes my way. I'm pretty confident I'll also be teaching some online classes, but I'm not going to do the crazy class load that I have this semester. It'll almost be like going on vacation to do a full-time class load rather than that. So all of that's coming up. I'm hoping to get some podcast work done as well. I'm going on a few other podcasts once Stoic Week is over and I can take a little bit of a breather. So that's what's going on in October, really packed month. If you're here in the Milwaukee area, you definitely want to come to the events, the Veronica Roth conversation at Boswell Books, Stoicon X at the Central Library, and the Aldous Huxley talk just before it at the Brookfield Public Library. If you're interested in Stoicism, come out to the Stoic Fellowship. We meet at the Shorewood Public Library in the conference room every month, last Thursday of the month. So hope all of you have a great month ahead, and there's not much else to say other than that.